Good evening. Thank you guys so much for attending tonight. My gosh, what a wonderful group. We've got so much in store for you tonight. I'm so grateful that you have, you feel so underdressed, Rachel. I know, it's what we do, right? It's Christmas, holidays, whatever. It's all good. But I'm really, really happy to see you all here tonight. So many new members in the last couple of weeks. It's so exciting to see the membership growing. We've opened it up to everybody, anybody who is interested in learning a little bit more and tuning into some really great speakers and just being a part of a wonderful community where you can be so inspired and so empowered and so educated. It's fantastic, right? Why wouldn't anybody be a part of this? So, hang on, let a few more people in. So tonight I have a huge lineup for you. I have chosen my all-stars from 2021. These are the gals that have given so much of their time and so much of their energy, and they've just committed themselves to really helping you guys to evolve this year. So I couldn't think of anybody better to include than these guys. So a few housekeeping rules, if you wouldn't mind. We're going to ask that everybody stays muted until we get to a point when we're going to be asking questions. There is the option to be able to raise your hand if you want to ask a question later on. So what we're first of all going to do is we're going to be introducing each one of our guest speakers tonight. They'll share a little bit about who they are and how they came into doing what they do. And they'll be sharing their insights about 2022 and what's coming up for 2022. Everybody has a different kind of an idea about it, right? So we'll be doing that. And then eventually I will open it up to questions so that you can address the speaker of your choice. And I'd ask that your questions be, as concise as possible so that we're not taking up too much time. So this is going to be a large group. There'll be a lot of people attending tonight. So we want to make sure everybody gets an opportunity to at least speak to one speaker. But you'll get a lot of benefit, I'm sure, of listening to all of them. So without further ado, I'll start by talking a little bit about 2022, and then we'll go into our introductions. So many of you have probably already seen the video that I put out. It was myself and Susan. We did a video here, Monday, I think it was, Susan? Monday or Tuesday. We did it Tuesday. So it's up on YouTube now, and it's talking about our thoughts about 2022 and what's coming up for 2022. And we talked about the vibration of the two. We have triple the two energy, right, in 2022. So the two is about patience. It's about being diplomatic. It's about being balanced. It's about partnerships and relationships. This will be a huge focus on relationships next year. It's going to be a time when you really want to get to know your partners, get to know the people in your life, your kids, your co-workers, your family, all of it. Now, when we look at the number 2022, we've got 20. That's the century, of course, right? And so that kind of dictates a theme for the entire century. But then we have the 22 at the end, right? So the 22, of course, is a master number, 22, 4. So again, there's the 2 2s there, but the 2 2s are about partnering up with people to create the foundations that will support humanity. So next year is not going to be just about you guys. Next year is going to be about us guys, right? It's going to be about everybody. It's going to be a very a really great feel towards humanity overall. But the big thing about 2022, as I see it, is it's going to be about seeing people for who they really are and accepting them for where they're really at, okay? Looking at them, recognizing that everybody has a unique soul's contract, right? Everybody does. And we are all at different points in our evolution. So when we add the 2 plus the 0 plus the 2 plus the 2, it comes up to a 6. Okay, so 6 relates to the need for perfectionism and sometimes a little bit of judgment. The 6 relates to being of service to others. So it's easy to judge somebody else. And it was something when I was kind of looking into this and thinking, what does 2022 mean to me and such? Rachel's now, she's got it going on. You kill me, Rachel. So when I was thinking about it, and I was considering what I was going to talk about, I was thinking about when I got married my second time, and I married this great guy. He's still a great guy, right? He has so much potential. Like I saw his potential. He was rough on the outside. He was really kind of, not the nicest guy and whatnot, but I saw a different side to him. I saw his potential, right? And so I had great hopes for him, and I thought, I can fix that one, right? I can whip that one into shape. Now, it's like 30 years ago, guys. But the point I'm trying to make is that I saw him for who I thought he could be. And so I married him based on what I thought his potential was. But really, it would have been better for me to look at him and accept him for who he was and where he was at, right? But I didn't do that. So I set an expectation, right? And so the expectation kind of comes from somewhat of a need for perfectionism too, right? Is to see that potential and see what you can do to create it, to help create it. So I didn't expect he was going to do it by himself, but I did kind of expect he would have stepped into it a little more, right? And he didn't. So it was a big lesson for me and for him too, because he's an amazing human being that just hasn't recognized his potential. So we're going to be really challenged next year to look at everybody maybe a little differently, and really pay attention to the relationships in your life. They're really going to come under a lot of, I don't want to say scrutiny, but sensitivity. Like the 2 is all about crazy sensitivity. So be easy on yourself, be easy on your partners, no judgment. Let's just see if we can release the need for judgment and expectations. So, but overall, I think you'll find it an interesting video that we've created for you. And like I say, it's out there on YouTube already. So go and check it out and share it with everybody. That would be awesome. So I am going to start out by introducing my good friend over there in the corner, Fiona Black. Hey, girlfriend, you can unmute yourself.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, how are you?
I'm really good, thank you.
I'm great. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank
It
you.
seems like forever since we've all hung out together.
Yeah.
So Fiona is out on Vancouver Island. She is an amazing coach. I have had the pleasure of working with her. She helped me tremendously learn about contracts that exist between myself and my kids and my mother and my father and my siblings. And my gosh, it just really helped me to make sense of a lot of things. She helped me to step into who I am. My business has soared as a result of Fiona's input and her coaching. She's a lot like Tira, only she's a lot gentler in her approach. Tira's got a great bullshit meter, right? She's able to call you out on your bullshit. And I freaking love that about her. Yeah, no, it's so true, but it's so good. It's so good. Fiona does it a little bit differently, but they're both so important to the whole thing. And like I say, I'm so grateful that I had the opportunity to work with both of them. But you can find Fiona at freedomwithfiona.com. Fiona, so share with us what's going on. Like, what do you got planned for 2022 and what's happening?
Yeah, no, thanks so much for inviting me. It's just so great to be here with all the collective energy. Like when we join together, it just feels so much more powerful. And like you say, that's where our power comes, when we really connect together with joint intention. So I work a lot with the Akashic Records. My biggest intention or goal, I guess, is to really help souls see who they truly are, feel who they truly are, and give themselves permission to actually start doing their soul's purpose. So I can help someone have the awareness of who they energetically are at that soul level and how to self-express. It's all in the Akashic Records. Every single experience that soul has ever had, every single emotion, every single relationship, all the information is there. So by accessing the information from the records, I can really understand and feel who someone is at soul level, at that essence level. And a lot of the time I don't tell them anything they don't already know. And I say that like from a great place of heart, because essentially people know who they are. They just need to be given permission by someone else who sees them, who doesn't know them, to be able to really claim that. And so that's what I'm really passionate about, is about helping people, one, see and understand and recognize and give themselves permission to be who they are, but then to start doing their divinity. I feel like now is a time that we need to start doing our divinity. We've spent a lot of time reading books, expanding our conscious awareness. And now I think it's time, like one of my favorite spiritual teachers, Amoda Ma, she calls it like where the spiritual rubber meets the road. It's like it's time to, use your voice, be active, follow your heart, live in guidance to your own sovereign inner being. And that for me is what 2022 is all about. It's that everyone can feel we're almost like in this pressure cooker. Like the pressure is so strong right now, and people are cracking. Like people are cracking, and that can look mentally, physically, spiritually, and awakening in itself, individually and on this collective level, it is a destructive process. It takes fire, and it takes, and we're all in this boiling pot, and we're all at different stages. Some people are cracked. Like I kind of get this image of people like popping out of the bubble, their bubble bursts, who they thought they were, the relationship they thought they were in, the job that they had. These things are bursting, and all that is not in alignment with the truth of who they are anymore is falling away, whether they like it or not. And I think that the more we understand, the more compassion we have, the more we stay from a place of awareness, we get to, instead of being pummeled by the pressure cooker, we get to flow with it. We get to flow in awareness of the perfection of all of it. And in our different states of awareness, we can hold space for other people's awakenings, other people's processes to happen. And for me, doing divinity quite often for people looks like spiritual entrepreneurship. Not for everyone, but for many people who wake up to the truth of who they are, entrepreneurship, I feel, is one of the most divine self-expression of the truth of who you are, because you really get to create business, you get to earn money, you get to bring abundance into your life by being you and by doing you. So as well as doing readings to help people understand the truth of who they are, I'm also moving into, and it's not quite up on my website yet because this is new for me and I'm just stepping into it, and we've had a session about it, Anne, where we look at your business and financial abundance in the Akashic records, because your business has its own, it's within your Akashic record, and your business is an energetic entity once you start bringing clients in. And therefore, it's possible to read where energetic misalignments are and understanding how to correct those misalignments. How you do business is a divine expression of the truth of who you are. Mm-hmm. So there is being aligned to your purpose, and then there is how you actually express your purpose into the world, and making sure that you're doing your business your way, guided by you. It's all about going from external to internal in every single way that we do our life.
That's, yeah. And the thing that blew me away when you and I worked together, and I don't know whether it was the soul realignment work that we did, when you discovered that I'm a blueprint technician. So of course I'm a numerologist, right? I look at people's blueprints and I assess them, and I look at them, and I, make sense of them, I guess, basically. So that's, yeah, the work that you do is absolutely profound. It's absolutely profound. I learned so much about myself, the fears that I had. It showed up, it absolutely showed up. So yeah, what's coming up in 2022, the program that you've got, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it is for those who are stepping into entrepreneurship, either looking into becoming an entrepreneur or who already have a business, because I can look at the potentiality of your business in the records, even if it's not been born yet, because your thoughts creates a reality in the fourth dimension, and then the fifth dimension, this can actually create information in the Akashic records. So I can look at the potentiality of your business and see if it's actually aligned with who you are. And that, I can look at in detail, like from the way that you who the contributors are to your business, to how your products, to how you market, to how you sell to your clients, and then your business models. It's all, your business has an energetic flow, and what we're looking for is congruence and alignment the whole way through.
Yeah, I can't even emphasize this enough, how much Fiona helped me with getting me to where I am. And I think sometimes we just need validation of who we are. Hugely. Right? We just need someone to say, yeah, you're on the right track. You're doing the right thing. Absolutely. Yeah, you've got this, And it's not just rah. It's based on the information that she can access in the Akashic records. So
Yeah.
it's just so profound. Like it's absolutely profound work. Like I don't think there's anything that you offer that I haven't taken. Sometimes more than once. But yeah,
No, it's such a beautiful opportunity to, I hugely work from the heart center. I'm hugely intuitive and led by the heart. And when you can meet a complete stranger and have that connection straight away, where you have the soul connection straight away, because that's the reality that you're connecting from. We're
yeah,
all residing in different realities, and there's lots of dimensional levels of who we are. And when we meet in that fifth dimensional level, there is no judgment, there's no ego, it's pure
hmm
information, it's pure energy, and you can feel the purity, and I can feel the purity, and the other person can. And it's that there's something so beautiful about that. It's like holding a baby.
hmm
you
hmm
know when you
hmm
hold a baby, you hold truth in your hands, the innocence and truth of just pure energy.
yeah,
And that is where the Akashic records is it's that place of pure energy, pure love, no judgment. And to meet a human in that place, I feel like that is our birthright.
yeah,
And that, right now in the shitstorm that we're all in, if we can really begin to see people at that soul level,
yeah,
feel them, and in that heart level of the heart, then that is creating heaven on earth for me, right? That is what we're here for, to create heaven on earth. And for me, that is seeing through the eyes of love, seeing through compassion, hearing the judgment and choosing not to operate from that level, choosing to operate from a different frequency, a frequency of love instead of judgment and ego.
yeah. And next year's frequency is going to be very, very, very sensitive, very
Yeah.
acutely sensitive. So, think before you speak. Um, I always encourage people to drop the word think in favor of feel. Feel your
Mm-hmm.
way through 2022 with discernment, and not. Hmm, it would be easy to take on a victim role with all of this, powerful energy coming at us. I mean, I know that you had posted a few things on Facebook there. I don't know, last week or something, Fiona, and I responded and went, wow. I mean, I just want to cry at the drop of a hat. I listened to a song on the radio, I'm bawling my eyes out. I'm thinking about something, I'm bawling my eyes out. Like, what the heck? What is this kind of thing? Like, oh, right, we're on the threshold of going into 2022. But
Yeah.
that's okay, right? The two is emotional. And maybe it's time for us to be emotional. We've all been through a lot in the last, 2, 3 years. So maybe it's okay. And that'll help to wash away any of the trauma that we've all been through.
Absolutely. That cleansing
Yeah,
and burning, right?
right.
Our earth is reflecting back to us our own inner fields. The
Yeah.
BC had the biggest, like, insane fires this year. BC, in Vancouver Island, Vancouver, sorry, the west coast of Canada, and then insane floods. It's like Great Mother is reflecting back to us, and we are her. We are nature.
hmm
So we're gonna feel the burn. We're gonna feel the tears,
Yeah.
and
Well, it's a
allowing
five-universal
that.
year, right? And the five's about the unexpected. The five is about change and moving with it and accepting the change rather than resisting it.
Yeah, boy, are we ever having to get good at that, right?
I
Is
know, right?
what's being thrown at us. Like,
Yeah.
can we stay that eye in the storm?
Well, I just so appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much.
I
Thank you for the
really, really
opportunity to
appreciate.
share.
Oh,
Yeah.
like I said, I've done everything that Fiona's offering, so I'm testimony. I'm her best poster child advertisement. So
Thanks,
you got to
Anne. I
check her out.
appreciate you.
Freedomwithfiona .com.
Thanks, everyone.
Let's check out Laura. What's going on down there, Elfie girl? You
Hey, Anne, I'm just hanging out here, planning my Christmas.
know. Yeah, right. Oh my.
Just taking a break from making toys.
Laura and I've known each other a long time, and we were just talking about this the other day on our little chin wag, and we were saying we both did a show. I think most of us who are readers and psychics and such. We all kind of start out in the realm of going to the fairs and the shows and things. And so Laura and I used to kind of travel the same circuit. And we remember looking at each other going, and we're done.
Yeah.
It's over
Last
for
one.
us, right?
Last one.
Last one. We are not doing this anymore. This is not our energy. This is not our space. So we chose to kind of move on from that and look at the wider, bigger picture. So Laura landed a TV show recently called Sightseers. And man, she did an awesome job. What was there, 8 episodes maybe?
There's 8. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right.
8 episodes, which you can see ami.ca, or is it .com?
Yeah, it's .ca. I find it's easier, like if you go to my business page, the link is there. If you just scroll down a couple posts, I think I put the link up for Halloween just for fun.
Yeah.
So or you can get the link from my newsletter or whatever. But it's easier to go through the link. But you can go to AMI and just put Sightseers in the search field, and it'll come right up.
That's like AdamMaryIgloo.ca.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
all the episodes are there. They're just, on demand. You can just watch them. You can buzz all through 8 if you want to. Just
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I never missed a one. They were awesome.
Yeah.
Really, really well done.
Oh, thank you.
So Laura's a psychic medium. You can find her at laurawarrenmedium.com. And so Laura's got a course coming up that you might want to talk about. There's all kinds of cool stuff there. I want to say too, each one of us has something on our website that you need to go and get for free, right? Every one of us has got some offering, whether it's an ebook or a course or something. There's always something on these websites to take advantage of. So make sure you're hooking up with that. So I think you've got a course on your website.
Yeah, so I've got a free course, 5 steps to develop a spiritual practice, which I did it because was really feeling heavy in 2020 and noticing that a lot of people they didn't feel prepared. They didn't feel prepared for a lot of the changes, and they didn't feel like they had a foundation. So, just as Fiona said, and I so appreciate what she said because I feel exactly the same, that we've been through so much change and shifting and trying to accept change and surrender to change. And now in 2022, it's like we've got to shift to using our heart center instead of our heads. And it's very hard. It's very hard for people to step outside of that, but you can't, you have to do the work. You have to move yourself into that place. And so I offered that course for free because I felt so passionate about people finding their way.
Yeah, that's awesome because it's true. I mean, it's very difficult. There are like the 11s in particular sometimes have a difficult time getting to their heart space because they've got the double ones, right?
Yeah.
The 1 is a head case number. It's an ego number. It's an ego driven number. So
there's just so much thinking, and a lot of master 11s have come my way, and that's the biggest thing I see for them is they're so afraid to make a mistake. They're so afraid that they're not going to do things exactly the right way. There's not a lot of risk taking or trust. It's because they've had to depend on themselves so much. So, I guess what my biggest hope for 2022 is that people will allow themselves to dream the impossible dream. Because what I see happening is that whatever you've been dreaming about and trying to manifest, and it could be for 20 years you've been thinking about this thing and preparing for it. I feel like 2022 is the time, if we can shift our energy into the right space, the energy is lining up to give people what they've been trying to manifest for many, many years. Everything's coming really fast in 2022, and I think it's important that we do maintain that practice of pulling ourselves back and trying to have a little bit of perspective, looking at the bigger picture, but also, as Fiona said, like pulling your energy up into that 5th dimensional reality, which is working from the heart center. It is working from a place of love and compassion, and not just looking at something as it appears to be, or making a judgment call from your previous knowledge or how you feel even about a person. Something really cool about next year, which I love, is I tapped into this energy of people really finding those deep connections with others. So if you've been missing that and needing that, it's like next year the stars are aligned for that to happen. And we have to be in the right headspace, because I feel like what's coming forward for people, it may not be the person you expect. It
Hmm.
might not be, it could be a romantic relationship, but it might be a friendship. You know, it could be just that soul connection. So I think people, I think we just really have to pull ourselves into this place where we see the heart and soul of people, instead of just looking at the outward appearance, or what is shown to us initially.
Yeah. And drop the judgment.
Absolutely.
You know, it's funny. We were talking tonight with everything that's come out in the news today about, the Canadian government is saying, please don't travel, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm scheduled to go to Jamaica next week to meet my grandson for the first time. And we're sitting here going, well, should we go or shouldn't we go? And one of the things that came to me was, if we choose to go, because we are allowed to go, it's a personal choice whether you go or not. I fully expect that we'll be judged big time. I already know a lot of the people in my own community will be like, you know, that's really important. And it really makes me wonder and think, maybe I got to reconsider the way I see people too, because this whole thing, this whole COVID thing has created a lot of fear.
Yeah.
And, fear creates judgment,
Hmm.
or perpetuates judgment, I guess is what I want to say. So I'm already seeing the mirror side of that,
Yeah.
and prepared for it, and to be able to say, it's okay.
Well,
Um,
it kind of reminds me of how we talk about meditation, and knowing that meditation is not just the act of, it's the beingness. So just being present in that state.
right.
And I think that's where we're going to have to find some comfort and find a place for ourselves in that state of being in meditation, instead of the act of doing, because next year is really crunchy. It's really tense.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of intense things happening. There's a lot of events, unexpected. But if we can pull, I feel like if we pull ourselves into the right thinking, and we're looking ahead to the future we want to create, and like I said, believing that all those impossible dreams can be true, because our soul sends us desires. So if you have a desire to do something that comes straight from your soul, it doesn't have to make sense in the human world. It makes sense in the divine world already, but we don't always have to understand what the divine world's telling us to do.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, Susan's been helping me to understand that further this year about the contracts that exist between us. And some people choose to take the crappy role, right? To be the bad guy, and some of us get to be the good guys, and some of us get to be the heroines, and all that.
Mhm.
So, uh, yeah.
And in our world, we do categorize that, and then in the higher realms, they don't look at everybody has a job, but there's no judgment as
Yeah.
to how that job plays out or what it looks like. We have that here as humans, because that's how our mind works, and that's how we make sense of our world. But that's really not how it is anywhere else.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Laura's helped me to tap into my family. She knows my mother well.
Yeah,
Susan
we're
knows my dad,
besties.
and Laura knows my mom.
Yeah.
I've got one eight
I,
hundred.
I
I'll
feel
go
like your
five.
mom's like, yeah, your mom's like my bestie now.
Oh, good, 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 good stuff. Careful what you wish for.
I think she likes how weird I am, so.
Yes, God bless your mom. Oh yeah, but yeah. So your course coming up. What's going on with that?
Well, actually, I've been working on a lot of things. I think I'm discovering I have ADHD, or just overload of inspiration. Because I'm working on two books, I'm working on an Oracle deck and another course to put out. And I've been trying to focus a little bit more on the YouTube channel, because I just want to get the word out there somehow. So,
Yeah.
but all the courses, the plan was to develop the courses to the point where I could get to the place where I'm helping people that are already in this work,
Mm-hmm.
that just need, or they have the ability but they just don't know how to break through.
Yeah.
So the series of courses that are like kind of coming out and being unraveled, I guess, they're all about just discovering about yourself, but then also, if you want to work in this field, what do you have to do? How do you personally take care of yourself? What are some practices that are good for you and your sitter or your
Mm-hmm.
client? So the course that I have on my website right now is, what kind of psychic are you? And that's to help you discover your gift. So the next series of courses are sort of built for to help people at all levels, but hopefully to aim at people that are wanting to do readings or wanting to get into this work, but they just don't know where to start.
I freaking love that. I
Yeah.
didn't, you know what? I don't know that I knew that that's where your focus was going,
Yeah,
because
well
that's
that
exactly what I'm doing with my How to Speak Numbers program coming up in
yeah, well that's it, right? I just feel like
yeah.
there's so many people that have amazing abilities, but they have
Hmm.
no idea what to do with them. Or
Yeah.
and there's a little bit of a coaching piece that comes with the advanced courses, because I feel like people that they then need to know what direction they're going in.
Yeah.
But that's my plan. We'll see what I get finished for 2022, because
Right.
I just made my to-do list really long. But and also Sightseers is going to film next year, so
Yeah.
yeah, I'll just have to just keep plugging away, see what I get done for everybody.
But everything you do is amazing. Everything you
Oh,
touch is
thank
gold.
you.
So, yeah, so you can find Laura at laurawarrenmedium.com. You can book readings with her there. You can see her programs there. It's all out there for you. And
All there.
she's got some good videos on YouTube as well. I think everybody in our group's got some videos on YouTube. Well, I know Ree does for sure. Tira does. Susan does. Susan's got some amazing meditations on there you gotta check out. Fiona, you've got some on YouTube. Yes? No? She's like, no!
Hey, you know what? I found Fiona's channel and I love the heart meditation. I love it.
There you go.
So,
There you go. Awesome. Thanks, Laura. Love you.
love you too.
So appreciate you being here. Tira.
Hello.
Hello, girlie. How are you?
I'm doing really, really good, Anne. Thank you.
You're coming live from Calgary.
Live from Calgary.
Not a Canadian.
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah, so I met Tira actually through Stephanie. And Stephanie kind of hooked us up and said, you guys really need to work together or do something together. And God bless you, Stephanie. I really appreciate the introduction.
Me too.
Because Tira and I have just connected like we've known each other forever. So
yeah,
pretty amazing stuff. Tira's got her website. It's tirawhitford.com. I'll post all these in the email that I send out afterwards. But she is a master empath. So a lot of you who are in this group are empaths. I would say most of you are empaths to a certain degree. She helped me to understand that I am an empath because I kept denying it. Apparently I was wrong. But anyway, I've just finished up a 6-week program with her, and man, I got so much to be grateful for in the period of time that we were together. She just helped me to rework my programs and rework my self-worth and just reposition myself. And I'm going into a 7 personal year. So all that sensitive stuff and crap you talked about, Laura, I don't worry about that because I'm going to my cave next year. You guys be lucky to see me. 7 personal year, I'm checking out. So, anyway, she's really helped me to reframe things so that I can still have a productive year next year, but without having to be constantly on my game all the time. So that's so grateful for that. So what's going on, Tira? What do you got coming up?
Oh, I really loved it, Laura, when you said you have an overload of inspiration. I am right there with you. There's just so many things that are kind of coming, and they're partially formed, and yeah. So I'm kind of working through a bunch of things as well, books and courses. Right at the moment, I'm still working with. I have a 12-month program for empaths. This is a program that helps the empath to understand their gift better, the gift of being an empath, and all the things that come with that. So with being an empath, you're not just an empath. And being an empath means that you can feel the things of other people. You can feel sometimes you can feel their emotions, sometimes you can feel their physical sensations, sometimes we even behave like other people, even if we don't like the way that they are behaving. And we don't usually like being empathic because it feels like it's very intrusive. It kind of comes at us and on us, and it's sticky, and we don't like it. And so we usually try to kind of avoid it and not have anything to do with it. And so what happens is when you can start to embrace some of these gifts as an empath and kind of understand that these are gifts, they're not curses, and really start working with them, they will help you to do your work. There was, I think both of these ladies both said that you still have to do your work, and that's absolutely right. You still have to do your work, but when you understand your gift a little bit better of being an empath, sometimes you can open the door and it's a little bit easier to do the work. So this course kind of helps you, the empath, to understand that we're all some type of healer. I know, Anne, you don't particularly like that word, but it's a matter of being able to either heal ourselves or heal the planet or heal somebody else. And we also have a number of other really cool, funky gifts that, you know, sometimes we can see spirits or feel our ancestors, or we can see auras, or you know, there's so many. We can teleport, and there's so many different things that we can do. And right here, right now, with 2022 coming, between 20 and 2022, it just feels like there's this beautiful energetic door that's kind of open, and this door is really allowing us to completely be who we're supposed to be. Fiona was saying this as well, and I totally agree. I think the pressure cooker has been here to teach us about our life lessons, because that's important. If we don't understand what we're here to grow through, then we don't get to go through the door, and that's going to be feeling even worse than it does right now. So I feel like it's about, these last few years have really been about, what are you here to learn and grow through and understand and move yourself into and embrace and release and all of it. It's just, it's a really big sticky wicket. It's big. So
and we're all in it together next year.
All in it together,
right?
Yeah.
Rather than I just, you know, 2022 I know is going to be sensitive, and it's going to be, you know, a lot of different things, but I feel like with it being 2022, it's that foundational thing. And you know, the last 2 years or so, certainly since 2000, when did COVID hit? 2020. Yeah. 2020. So that was a 4 universal year, right? So we were all being asked to rethink and relook and revisit. It's almost like being in a retrograde for 2 years. Like we were all being asked to look at our foundations and where do we want to go from here, and what's it going to look like, and all that kind of stuff. And I really feel that's going to be more of the same next year, but with more of a focus of how do we get people to be on side with us as we build that foundation that's going to support everybody. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so too. I think there's going to be a lot of, I think it's always good. I think it's always wonderful and perfect and beautiful. Mm-hmm. And I don't like it. It does kind of tend to sound scary because, you know, because first off, doing your work isn't usually the first thing that we say, yay, let me go do my work, yay. But it's so important. And the more that we can do our work, the more that I think that door opens to our next level, our next potential. Maybe it takes us more into the feminine because we've been in the masculine for quite a long time. And, you know, maybe this area here in these last couple of years has happened just to really allow us to understand the structures and, you know, putting things one on top of another, just with very big systems. And we're going to be moving into the nurturing and you know, and just looking at people differently and feeling the world differently and feeling ourselves differently. Spirituality, I think, is you know, waking up, and I think it's going to wake up even further because, well, usually we don't really feel spiritual until some really big things happen.
That's true.
So some of these really big things have happened quite consistently over enough time for people to maybe be able to kind of break through some of those personal barriers and feel their spirituality differently.
So do you feel then, Tira, like, you know, I take into consideration this group. I mean, these people have all shown up. They're obviously people who are interested in doing the work and engaging and tapping into who they really are. And, you know, with the work of Fiona going into the Akashic Records, you know, we find out what our issues are, and we can work through that, our contracts and all that kind of stuff. But don't you feel though that as we step into that and as we start to own who we are and we're going through the work and whatnot, we're better in alignment with who we are. But don't you feel that it's our opportunity to be of service? Like really, I mean, we're all here to be of service. We're all here to love and to be of service in some way. I feel that.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So 2000, as you're talking, I'm thinking, okay, 2022, it's a 6 vibration. So it's so important for us to step it up. It's so important for us to step it up and do the work and really tap into who we are and accept who we are so we can be of service to the planet.
Oh, I agree. I think that it's all about service. A lot of us are already giving so much. And for many of us, it's about really understanding what service is and what we can do and what we can put out there and to who. But for some folks who have given everything and they are exhausted, it's time to learn how to receive. It just goes back to those life lessons, right? It's whatever it is that you're here to learn, it's being magnified.
That's a great point. I'm glad you brought that up. It's so true. Yeah. And the 11s, man, I mean, they're really good at putting it out there and driving and, you know, but they're not as good at receiving.
Right.
And not everybody in this group's an 11. I get that. But there's 11 energy somewhere in your chart. So I'll find it. If I look hard enough, I will find it. It is in there somewhere. So, but yeah, Tira's got great programs out there. You can check it out. She's got some really good videos on YouTube too. You got a series of, I think, 6 videos on there. Like
I think 5. I think 5 just for the empath to find your potential. And there's something that's kind of sitting on YouTube. There's quite a few videos on YouTube, and I don't know which ones are public anymore. I've done so many of them, but
yeah. No, but there's a nice collection in there that I think would be really fitting for this group. So be sure to check it out. And you can find Tira at tirawhitford.com. Check her out. Get on the mailing list of these people too, because that's the only way you're going to know what's going on and what's coming up. And everybody has a mailing list. So, and there's a way to sign up for them on the website. So none of us spam, none of us sell your names, you know, something like that. But if you want to know kind of what's coming up and what's going on, make sure you get on everybody's mailing list. Thanks, Tira.
Oh, thanks for having me on.
Oh, I so appreciate you being here. Rhi, what's going on up there?
Hello.
Hey.
I'm very happy to be here. Oh my God, what's going on? Well, actually, it's funny because I am on retreat right now.
No, stop it.
I am. Yeah. I made a clear space to be with you guys, but yeah, I'm on retreat. So I'm kind of glowing and feeling very chill right now.
That's awesome.
That is what's going on. Yeah.
So so that everybody's clear, Rhiannon's website is now called upgradetouplift.com. It used to be Tea Time Tarot, but it's upgradetouplift.com. So you might want to check her out there. She does some amazing readings. She's got all kinds of courses and stuff. What have you got coming up and what's happening for 2022? What's your take on it?
Well, I've narrowed down. It's interesting. Everybody's talking about how they're expanding and doing all these different projects. I was there and I just cut everything out, and I'm really focused on just the retreats right now. Good. I do readings occasionally, but the retreats are really where my heart is. And I turn each retreat into a course. It's all about raising the level of consciousness of whoever attends the retreat and takes the courses, because that's where we make decisions. We make decisions from the level of consciousness that we're at, and that's how we create our lives. We make these little micro decisions that are based upon our perception of the world, and the retreats and the courses are all about kind of clearing away all of the stuff that gets in the way of us making those amazing decisions and our terrible patterns that, keep us in shame and
Yeah.
grief and guilt and all of that stuff. So yeah, that is what I'm about. And 2022, it's interesting. I feel like when you talk about service and partnership, I think about it a little bit differently, I guess, because my feeling is that it will be about our relationship with reality, like the big relationship. How are we going to shift our perception and the way that we relate to our reality? And to me, it's not necessarily about creating a reality, it's more a way of being. Like Laura was talking about meditation, sort of not being the doing, but being the being. And I think it's really tough for people to bridge their spiritual practice into everyday life and to make life a spiritual practice where it's not the spiritual practice is in the morning and then you go about your day, but living your life as a prayer and bringing that divine energy that we are, because we are divine, bringing that to our relationship with everything and making these shifts because we are radiant gods and goddesses, because we are in a higher level of consciousness. That just happens naturally. We don't have to struggle or strive or try to do anything. It just is who we are. And that energy field, as I'm sure you guys can attest, just being around your family members and your friends, when you are pure and you're radiating at a higher level of consciousness, and the levels don't mean good or bad, there is no judgment, it's not about that, it's sort of like a shedding that happens so that you can shine, the divine can shine through you. You end up healing the people around you, and their issues and their stuff doesn't come up anymore. It doesn't meet your stuff. And
Right.
so your relationships are naturally made better. My relationships, since doing this work for years now, they're so loving and so free and compassionate. They're just so different. I get along with people now that I never thought I could get along with, forgiving my ex-husband, like the ex-husband from bad places. I can do that now, and it has nothing to do with him changing. I'm not expecting change. Yeah, it's all about what I'm bringing to the world. So that's what the retreats and the courses are about, and that is what I feel 2022 will be about as well. Just people, instead of looking at the world and saying, what can the world do for me? What can it bring to me? I really feel it'll be more about, what can I bring to life, and who am I going to choose to be, and what do I have to offer? I think it will be about service, like you said, and also taking responsibility, not just for what we do, but for who we are and the consciousness level that we're bringing to the world.
I love that. I love that. And as you were talking, I was thinking a couple of things but one of the considerations I always have is, how can I raise the vibration of another? But it begins with raising our own vibration. So it's I think if we take responsibility, that's what keyed me to say this. You talk about 2022. It's a 6 vibration that is all about responsibility. What is our responsibility? How can I help to raise the vibration of the planet? What can I do to raise my own personal vibration so others will benefit? We were talking about this. Who was I talking about with? Somebody today, one of my clients today. Remembering when I had a dog that she used to lie at the end of my bed, and she was going through a really bad time. Every morning she'd get up and she'd start throwing up, even though there was nothing in her stomach. It was just like gall that was coming up, right? So I took her, I figured it was a dietary thing, she's a collie, she's got a sensitive stomach, whatever, right? And I took her from this vet to that vet to this vet. We examined everything. come to find out that I took her to the last vet that I took her to was like 200 years old, right? He'd been a vet forever. And he looked at me and he said, there's nothing wrong with her physically. She is responding to something going on in your house. Now, this is like 30 something years ago, right? So I wasn't quite on board with what I'm on board with now. And he said, she's responding to something going on in the house. And I'm like, there's nothing going on in our house. What do you mean? He said, well, there's she's responding to some kind of energy in your house. And I'm thinking ghosts and whatnot. Never even thought it was my energy. So I went home and I kind of pondered it and thought about it. And then I realized, wait a minute, my brother had been terminally sick, like for, 5 months. We'd gone through, he had flesh eating disease and he died 5 times over the summer. He finally lived, but it was really, really bad. So of course I'm going through all the trauma of that. And she's lying next to me all night long. And then as soon as we were done with that trauma, my father developed brain cancer, right? So there was no letting up, but I was just on straight, like, just go, just survival mode, right? So energetically, I was putting it out there and she was responding to my low vibration, right? So if we can do that to an animal, we can certainly inspire people in a different way with a more positive approach, right? That's just one example of how our own vibration we're putting out there has such an influence on everybody and everything, and even the animals in our lives around us. So it's our responsibility next year to figure out how can we be of service, what can we do to raise our own personal vibrations so that we can inspire others.
Yeah, 100%. I feel that there's, this is a bold statement, but I really do feel that we are all God. And I feel that there's nothing more important than to realize that and to live as that and to get rid of everything that stands in the way. Not, that we have to leave the world. I used to think that. I used to think I have to go retreat in a cave and spend the next 7 years. But it's not that. It really is about meeting life and bringing my divine self and the renunciate, like me thinking of renunciation, getting rid of everything. I think that I can do that and still be wealthy and still have the relationship. It's not about the stuff. It's about not needing the stuff in order to be happy. If it all gets taken away, who am I?
Yeah.
And that's really the people who come to the retreats. That's what I feel they're really getting. I've had people that have been with me for a year. I do them every month. And I feel the biggest benefit that they're walking away from is they really feel unhurtable. There's nothing in them that can be shaken. I'm not saying stuff doesn't happen. Obviously it does, but you become, I guess, so peaceful that the outer stuff just doesn't matter as much. It doesn't carry as much weight. Yeah.
I don't know why this came up as you were talking, but Scotiabank. Do you have Scotiabank in the States? No, okay.
No.
So it's a Canadian bank. Scotiabank. Scotiabank's whatever logo kind of thing statement is "You're richer than you think."
Yeah.
Right?
We are. We are.
Yeah, you're richer than you think. Right. So you always get to choose how you respond to everything. So we're always in a position to co-create our realities. So, the other thing that you said too, Rhi, that kind of inspired me was thinking about, what is your spiritual practice? And I was thinking, I have an altar, but it's behind a glass door and it's not out and it's not, touchable and feelable and workable and whatnot. I got to get that out and make more of a conscious effort to live a more spiritually focused life. I think that's really important. I've always said it's important. I usually, when I was teaching my soul coaching program, it was a huge part of the program, right? But I've gotten away from it. So maybe that's a challenge for all of us tonight to say, okay, what are we going to do January 1st? If not sooner, like, what are you going to do in terms of a regular practice, be it meditation, be it prayer, be it putting out your gratitudes, whatever. Let's take responsibility in our 6th universal year to say, it's my responsibility to get in better alignment.
Yeah. And it's, I'm sorry, I don't mean to take up so much time. Sorry. But I think that it's something that we think has to be separated from paying the bills, taking the kids to school, making dinner. And it absolutely isn't. It's all a service that we are giving to other divine beings. Like it's such a beautiful thing when you can make love to your husband or whatever and see him as God. See him as God and love him as another divine being, and have that be your spiritual practice, and have it be your spiritual practice when you're making lunch for your kids. I am serving God right now as in the form of my beautiful children.
Right.
And then when you mess up, you just say, okay, God made a mistake and like, I'm okay. Or God today is feeling like just want to lay down and watch TV, and it's all beautiful and perfect. And yeah, so I'm pretty chill right now.
I'm glad you are.
Yeah.
I love that. We haven't seen each other in so long. I love it when you come back chill.
Yeah, it's great.
But you can check out Rhiannon at upgradetouplift.com. Get on her mailing list, figure out what's going on. She can let you know when the retreats are happening. So you might want to take advantage of one of those. Make that your gift to yourself. Make that your responsibility to step into these programs that are being offered, because there's lots out there for you, and you're privy to it here. Lots of people aren't. So, step it up. Thanks, Rhi.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here. Sue. There she is.
Hello. I am very excited to be here too. Thank you. And if you are hearing this sound in the background, that's kind of it's pouring buckets out right now. So I'm like, it slowed down for a few minutes, and I was like, oh, maybe it's gone, but it's back. So we're having a rainstorm here, so hopefully we won't get into thunder, lightning, and any mishaps with the laptop. But anyway, thank you so much for having me here, and happy holidays to everyone. Really happy. Yeah. So, up to piggyback on everyone that just spoke, like, oh my God, I'm over here shaking my head. Yes, so much. Like, I'm definitely overwhelmed with all the things that are coming into my world with the to-do list, like Laura said and Thera said. Oh my gosh, like I have so many Post-it notes everywhere that I decided to put them on one page and stick them on a board so that I'd get them off my desk. And then within a week, I have all on my desk plus on the board. So yeah, too many things going on at once, right? So we do what we have to do, right? Yes. But yeah, so I'm so happy to be here with all you guys, because I resonate so much with what everyone is saying. And, just a little bit about my background is I had severe rheumatoid arthritis in my early 20s, and, had to walk with a cane. I was taking off my baby's diapers with my teeth, so I had to learn a lot from that, which took me down the road of, learning how to heal myself, learning the power we all carry within each of us. And as that road, got longer, I started finding different paths that led me different ways. And then I became into meditation and self-healing. And, long story short with that aspect, I did heal myself. It didn't happen overnight, but, I just knew this was my life purpose, to be able to share certain things. And with that came the ability as a psychic medium, because I started getting deep into meditation and Reiki and healing, and all these things happened. And so one of the goals I have is to help people understand the power of their subconscious mind. Also to understand that, as Rhiannon said, we are all here as spiritual beings. We're in a physical body, but we're really spiritual beings learning to live, on this earth. And we become so in our own little worlds, because our lives become so consumed with being busy, and we lose our way at times, and we forget, that life can be a lot more simple than, we give it. We don't even get to take half this stuff, with us when we leave. So, those people who are so determined to get, the house, the car, the this, it's like, wait a minute, there's no U-Haul, at the funeral. You don't get to take it with you. So you might as well learn that we are here really to share love and to understand that we're energy and, how that process works. And I don't know if any of you have ever heard of Dr. Emoto. I love what he did with the water. I used to do that in workshops, and I would show people, we would all just yell at this glass of water and put the pendulum over it, and it would just sit there. And then this other thing of water, we would give it love. Everybody would be focused on it, saying, I love you, really pushing those feelings out. And the pendulum would literally just spin in this huge circle. So if we're all, mostly water, think about our energy and how we're presenting to each other, right? And if you're thinking bad to yourself and bad thoughts, and that's going out into the world as a vibration and a magnet, then you're attracting the same thing back. So just to touch real quick on fear, when you were talking about fear, let's think about when that happened, when that came out with COVID and fear, and then everyone started to feel the fear, think the fear. So now we're creating more of a vibration that goes out and starts creating, in a magnitude, because we're not just one person thinking it, we're like all over the world thinking it. So it becomes this big fear-based vibration. And then you've got the light workers and the people, like ourselves and almost everyone in this group feeling like we want change. We know we want change. How are we going to do it? So I think it was, might have been Laura who said it. I'm not sure. One of you had mentioned it, and I thought it was awesome too, is that what we're saying is when we can focus our thoughts and our feelings, which is going to be a lot in 2022, is all about feeling on love, because love is the highest vibration, trumps everything. Fear knocks it right down. Focus on love. And as we do this as a collective, instead of fear, we're going to be stomping the fear out of the way. And that's what I feel like this has been doing, is 2020 has started out with, us having to really learn who we are and figure out who we can be with and how we want our lives to be going forward. And then this last year, 2021, was all about, like you said, changes and, the unexpected events that were happening. And okay, what am I going to do with this and that? And how do we react? I think we had to learn the power and the strength we have within us. And then now going forward into 2022, it's learning that love really is the whole piece that's missing in the puzzle. And it's not just love for other people, because that is going to be huge in 2022 with relationships, but it's also the love we have with ourselves, because it starts there, right? We can't have peace in this world if we don't have peace within ourselves first. The same thing goes with love, right? So we are magical beings, really, that contain so much wisdom and knowledge that we don't even realize we have. And we're energetic. We can vibrate this frequency out. So if we all realize that we are that powerful and come together as a collective, then I feel like that's the step in the direction that 2022 is pushing us into. And someone had mentioned like it's a door opening, and it is. And it's time to step through and love yourself enough, because when you are loving yourself the way we need to be loved, and a lot of us here are not good at that, we're always finding the faults, but we're learning. We're all in the process of learning, even those of us who are teaching and sharing and coaching. And when we can feel this love at that level, then I feel like that's when it's just going to expand more into Mother Earth. And, we may see less storms and less eruptions coming out, because I feel like that's just the energy that's, being pulled from a lot of the people in the world who are feeling this anger and this fear and frustration. So, focusing on love is going to be big. And I know in my journey and healing, I had to learn the power of my thoughts, and my feelings were huge. And what I was putting out, I was getting back. So I worried, stressed, I'm going to get more of the same, and had to learn. I like to put it this way, I'm placing an order, so I think of my day of what order do I want to place today, and it always starts with gratitude. And even sometimes when we have things that aren't so great, I can always find the positive within it. As nasty and yucky as it can be, I guarantee you there's positive in it. And there's a lesson in there, because let's face it, we did not come here to just play and have fun. We came here to learn and to grow spiritually. And those are what these life lessons are for. And, we have everyone, a lot of the work I do is I focus a lot with spirit teams. So we all have a spirit team, master guide and helper guides that come in, and we all have a physical team, right? So the spirit team is, there to support you, cheer you on, they're guiding you the whole way. And then you have your physical team that you chose, and they're there to, really press your button. So again, you have your antagonizer, you have your nurturer, you have your, victim person. They're all in there playing a role for you, but you're also playing a role for them, and I have some moms that can be really hard on themselves and feel like, oh my God, I should have done this differently and that differently. And you have to remind yourself two things. One, you're learning a lesson through it, but two, you're also playing the role you were supposed to play for that child, right?
Yeah.
So it's big. It's like you're both playing so many roles in that aspect. So what I have done and what I've hope that I can help some more people with is I've created a course, and I'm working on some books and things like that as well. But my upcoming course, which starts in February, and I picked the date 2022. So we're really planning to work on relationships and love and all that stuff. But it's called Step Into Your Magnificence and Transform Your Life. And it's going to be a 4-week course where we meet twice a week on Zoom, but also be getting lots of goodies with it. So you'll get, some specific guided meditations just for that week. I call it Breakfast for the Soul, so that you'll have one in the morning, bedtime stories for the soul. You can have one for nighttime. And also doing some PDF documents and some audio visual stuff, and trying to think of everything else on there, affirmations, inspiration. And we're going to be talking, like, each week will be specific, so it'll be kind of like opening up the door to your magnificence and really finding how you can discover more of yourself, and learning your spirit team and your physical team and how the roles they're playing have brought about limiting beliefs and blocks in your life. The second one is going to be more about connecting with your inner child. I love working with the inner child. I'm super supportive of doing that. I mean, sometimes you have to put them in timeout and people are like, what? And it's like, think of that little child that can mess with you and be like, oh, that, don't do that. That's not going to happen. And don't get your, hopes up with this. And sometimes you have to go, okay, thank you for helping me, but I need you to go in timeout right now, because I am going to make this happen in the adult world. But thank you, and give her a hug, so. But then there's the one that really needs that nurturing, that didn't get it, and support. So we do a lot with that. Third week will be, what exactly is your life purpose? Because by now you're starting to discover what you're here for and what you need to do. And it never needs to be anything like ginormous. Some people think, oh my gosh, my life purpose, I'm doing nothing. I'm sitting here and I'll be thinking, you have already been doing your life purpose all these years. Think of the roles you've played in everyone's life. Maybe the time you smiled at that stranger, you just don't know how tiny the pieces you are that you're doing. And the last week will be, let's manifest your dreams. So I will work really deeply with the subconscious mind and doing some tools with that as well. So, and that is on my website. And I have I'm only doing 8 people, keeping it nice and cozy, so I can do some one-on-ones. And I also will give you one session with me that's 45 minutes with that bundle. And I do have a few spots left. So yeah.
Okay. That sounds exciting.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I just rambled like crazy. I just know one time frame, and I thought, oh, let me just make sure I get it all out here.
You want to check out Susan. She's at spiritsandbeyond.com, and you can always see her. Of course, we're doing our forecasts each month. So we've just done the most recent one, came out on Tuesday, so you can check that out. But it all sounds very exciting. I know the first reading I had with Susan, she really helped put things in perspective for me. Things I knew, but I didn't know. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you know it, but you don't know it. And she helped me to understand, I believed that I had chosen my dad, who was quite an alcoholic, and he was very removed from all of us. He really just couldn't connect with us. He was very, very broken. And I knew that, and I had figured that out a long time ago, and I made my peace with that. But Susan helped me to see that my father came through in a reading, psychic reading, mediumship reading that she had done for me, where Dad came through and said, you need to tell Anne that I didn't want to be the deadbeat dad. Like, she was insistent that I be that I play that role for her, and I loved her enough to stand in that position and in that role for her. That completely blew my mind when I really got that. That really changed my perspective on everything. So I'm very, very grateful for that illumination that you gave me. So yeah, thanks, Susan.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Let me just let a few more people in here. Room's getting full. So anybody have any questions for these guys? What you're going to do is you're going to raise your hand. There's a little button you can push to raise your hand. And if you have a question for anybody, I want you to raise your hand so I can reach out to you. And then you can ask and direct the question at whomever it is you want to ask. So you can speak to myself or Rhi or Susan or Fiona, Laura, Tira, any one of us. Mary Louise has a question. So you can unmute yourself there, Mary Louise.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm not sure who the best person would be to answer this.
Okay.
I have what's called aphantasia. For those of you who don't know, is that in normal daily life, I don't see things in my mind's eye. It's like a blank computer screen. It's just black. And so that creates some challenges for me, especially when it comes to meditating, because I can't visualize. I do understand things or imagine things, but in a different way. And I am a creative person, so I've obviously found a way to work around it. And I do see that there are some benefits to having aphantasia, as well as I see some challenges with it. My worry and concern, which I'm not trying to focus on worry and say that that's the concern and impacting me, because what we focus on becomes, our reality. But I am a bit concerned that it may be creating a bit of a block for me in terms of receiving messages from spirit. Does anyone have any thoughts, or have you worked with other people who have aphantasia? It's a small percentage of people in the world who have it. It is only in the last few years that it's actually even been diagnosed, and there are varying degrees of aphantasia. So we are in a minority, I guess. I've known that I've had it for a while before I found the information in terms of, that it was a term, a condition, or whatever you want to call it. But I guess any thoughts or any ideas that may be able to assist me in moving beyond the times when it feels like a challenge.
Anybody want to I have a thought, but anybody else want to step in? Laura, you're nodding your head.
I have something here for you, Mary Louise. One of the things that I know for sure is that there are no mistakes in the physical body, not one. So what that means, I've just worked just very little with this before. With one of my friends' sons has this. It's so unique, okay, so individual and so beautiful. Okay, beautiful on some levels, and
Yes.
But what I guess what I want to tell you is that there are always going to be those things that make us special, and this thing here is right now what's making you special.
Mm-hmm.
You may not be able to connect with spirit the way that other people do that don't have this, but you for sure will be able to connect with spirit. Okay. You just may need to look at it a little bit different, or find like a back door, or but there's, you're gonna find, if you keep looking at it, you're gonna find that this thing is gonna make you amazing somehow.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. I know I see sometimes, one of the benefits for me is the times that I have had colors in my mind. Like, it's not that I've never had it in meditating and connecting. And so I definitely know that is not me. So when that happens for me, it was very clear that this is, you know, receiving a download from spirit or that. So I can see that it's beneficial. I can see that it would help in terms of focus. But you're right. I will work on that. And I'm trying to find a way to, in meditation, imagine or hear or feel or smell, to make up for that, the loss of the visual. And obviously there's a lesson. I've chosen this. There's some kind of lesson this. I haven't figured out that lesson yet.
I think it's pay attention, right? Just be mindful. Just be mindful of everything. Don't try to force it. Just be aware, like you said, when you're seeing those colors and you can understand that that's coming from spirit, you know, that's awesome. That really is coming from spirit. A lot of us don't know when those messages are coming from spirit, but you definitely do.
Right. Yes.
And keep a journal.
I was going to add to
okay, thank you.
what Tira said too, like that. I think there's we don't totally understand sometimes how spirit communicates. And so for me, maybe your superpower is feeling through your emotions. Maybe your superpower is all the clairs that don't involve that third eye. So there's 6 different types of clairs, and you're using all your physical senses, but your extrasensory perception. So what I would say to you when you want to talk to spirit, very, very simple method I learned from another medium, is just use the thought. What I use, it's called here goes. So the here just means that you're present. The G just means you're grounded. The O is to open your chakras. The E is to expand your consciousness. And the S is to shift yourself out of the way. Because this is not necessarily a human physical process, okay? So when you shift your human self out of the way, then you can receive information on all levels. So you don't have to worry about not seeing anything, because you're feeling through your emotions, and maybe you're hearing something. Maybe you work more on how spirit can talk to you almost through your mind. Or maybe you actually can sense a smell. Or like when I read auras, I can read auras, but I don't see the color of the aura in my mind. I hear the name of the color, and I hear where it is. So I think the thing to understand is that you have ability, but your ability just works differently than you expected.
Right. Okay. Thank you both. It's that all that information is very, very helpful, and I think a lot. I'm in my head a lot, so I'm going to feel through that.
Okay.
I was going to
the other thing that came up. Oh, I'm sorry, Susan.
Nope, go ahead. I was just going to mention real quick that what I was hearing that you should try too is writing, like automatic writing. And also, I feel like when you said, "Why did this happen to me?" You chose it, obviously. Well, you chose it because you need to feel more. And like Laura said, I think it's all in your feeling, not in your head. And you can definitely communicate with spirit from feeling. Definitely.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
The thing that came up for me, Mary Louise, was instantly, as soon as you brought this up, instantly it came down and it said she's comparing herself to others. Right? She's got an expectation that this is the way I should be able to see things, or I should be able to intuit things this way, or I should be able to feel things this way. And that you have to drop the need to, you have to accept that you are unique and that this is actually your gift. And Nadia sent a message here that I thought was really good too. She says, "Can I say that when one sense is taken away, the others will be stronger?" So this really isn't to your detriment. This is really to your benefit.
Yes.
Right? So
most days I've come to feel that. Others I do get stuck in my head, and I do compare, and which I'm going to use a should word because I just don't have another word. I have learned in my life that I am unique and I am different, so different than the norm. And as a child, that I didn't understand that, and I still struggle with that, obviously, but I will work on those. Thank you.
So why don't we remove the word different and prefer to say you're unique?
Yes, I do often use that word.
Right? Yeah, because when you
Yes.
say you're different, then it imposes separation, and you're not
Yes.
different. You're just
Yeah.
unique, right? So that's awesome. Great feedback, guys.
Thank you, everybody.
It's really good. Anybody else have any questions for any of these wonderful ladies? This is your opportunity. This is your one-time opportunity in 2021 to get your eyes. Ben, you're just sitting there. Just I can just see you just doing this. Come on, bring it on. I know you've got a question.
Oh, one second.
Hey everyone, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah. It's good to see you.
I haven't really formulated the question, so I'm going to try to ask it the best way I can.
Okay.
Wait, 1 second. Sorry, let me turn off my headphones. Sorry.
No worries.
Yeah, for some reason I can't hear everybody. Oh, you know what?
Are you having trouble with your
Yeah.
audio?
Nope, now it's better. I wasn't able to hear anybody, including myself, so I was on mute. So I'll try to formulate this question the best way I can. In terms of like what I'm seeing in the world right now, there seems to be like this great divide between people who are jabbed and people who are unjabbed. It's getting worse, obviously. Obviously now they're pushing boosters, but it really seems to be like pitting people against each other. Where I really believe in unity, but it's hard because people have such diverging views. Just seems like there's a lot of oppression between governments, really pushing for this, and then there's also like a real awakening in terms of people fighting for freedom. But what do you anticipate, like, and I guess this is really just for the group in general, like happening in 2022, and any advice on how to navigate through this in a way to like still find peace? That I'm kind of like really focused on it, at least speaking my truth about it. But what by doing that, I kind of like, I feel like by investing my attention on it, it's just like it affects me. Obviously, I try not to let it, but it does, obviously. And then like I realized like, oh, I have triggers that I need to do shadow work on it, because it's such a, people are losing their jobs. It's like you get jabbed or you lose your job. So just kind of any general advice on like how to find peace with that, and or just how you see navigating that in 2022.
Okay. Rhea, you got something to say?
I do. Surrender it. I really don't think that it's a problem. I think that the thinking around it is a problem. There's nothing going out there in the world. There's nothing going on that's imperfect. It's all perfectly unfolding. The person who is losing their job, that is their, for lack of a better word, their karma. That's their perfection unfolding. And you're way too powerful to be dragged around like this. It's perfect. And I get it. I totally understand like what it is to feel upset like that and divided, but the division isn't out there. It isn't out there. It's within you. You are, and it's totally set out of love. Please hear this through the filter of love. It's because of your judgment that is making it seem divided. It's not. It's not. It can't be. We are one thing. We're indivisible. And just trust in that. And I wouldn't do anything about it. I wouldn't try to fix it, because you're only going to ensnare yourself more in that web. I would just continuously surrender it. Every time it comes up, just, I give this to you, whatever your name for the divine is. Just, I give this to you. I give this feeling in me to you, and just see what happens. There really, really, truly isn't a wrong side. There aren't sides unless you kind of make that happen in your mind. So what you're surrendering is the idea that there are sides. That's what I have found to be very, very helpful, because by surrendering it, you're giving it to something that only knows perfection, and you're going to sort of see the perfection in it. Yeah, that's much, I guess it is heaven on earth to feel that perfection, and that when you trust something so much wiser than the little self that is capable of judging.
Yeah.
That's, yeah.
And yeah, I think that's really good advice, because I think what really gets me through it is knowing that everything really, it's like, it's hard for us to understand it, right? Everything's happening like perfectly as planned, and like everyone's getting their experiences, you know, that they need to grow. So I really do believe that, but obviously surrendering is like so hard at times. But you're right.
And your difficulty with this actually is your opportunity to grow. So even you struggling with it is also perfect. So that's, yeah.
Great answer, Ree. Tira's got something to say. Oh, wait, no. I can hear Susan's mic's off.
Oh, I was just going to say real quick that we all chose to be here to experience this. Each one of us, everyone in this world. And there's so much lessons that are so different for each one of us as we go through this. So live in the present moment and do your gratitudes all the time. You know, what you're grateful for, and don't focus on, you know, all the drama and the media and everything, because then you're feeding your energy to that. Just like Rhiannon said, yeah.
Yeah.
Tira, you wanted to say something?
I just have a little snippet kind of after. I've had a lot of clients come to me like this. I myself have been kind of in that energy where you know, you wonder whether or not you're supposed to fight and which side you pick. And so I really understand where you're coming from. And I've heard a couple of messages very directly from spirit. Every now and then I'm truly blessed to be able to hear a few things. And I know that they're from spirit because I wouldn't normally say these things. One of them that I got was live your life. Live your life. Doesn't matter what's going on out there. Doesn't matter what you think is going on out there. Do your best to live your life. And the second one is don't choose sides. Now, some of us have the life lesson where they have to stand up and they have to choose the side, but that's not everybody's life lesson.
Yeah. I love that. I think that's great advice.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Ben.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
So we're going to go to, where'd you go? I'm going to go to Nadia, wherever you are. You just bounced off the screen there. I'm not sure where you went. Oh, there you are. Nadia, you've got a question.
Yes, I do. But first, can I just say, Bim, we're all cramming for our final exams, and you're studying for your score. So just do the best you can, and it'll let us all be averaged out. Okay. I said I'm finally enjoying the ride of the gifts that I now have after going through the hectic life that we go through. And I'm seeing more people showing their empaths, and more are being downloaded for healing. I feel like we're getting ready for the years to come. And so I joined so many different types of classes for intuitive healing because I want to know what kind of healing I'm doing. But I did join this group that I am obligated not to do any other forms of meditation. Now I want to join your groups of the ones you're talking about, but you guys all have different types of meditation. What happens then? I have to stick with this group's meditation for 90 days or more.
And that's okay, because the programs that everybody offers, they're recurring. They're recurring.
Okay.
So they're not date sensitive per se, right? They'll be recurring. So, but I totally respect your need to honor the commitment that you made to the group that you're in. But everybody who's offering something here, it's going to be an ongoing event. Like there'll be all kinds of opportunities many times for you to join whatever feels right for you. So yeah, you're exactly where you
Okay.
need to be right now.
Oh, I'm so excited about it.
Yeah, good stuff. That's great, Nadia. It's exciting.
All right, guys. Have a great night.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for being here. Janice Croft wants to ask a question. Go ahead, Janice.
I have to unmute. Thank you. I don't know how you showed up on my computer today, but you did. And
I do that.
I don't know my life path number. I'm new to all of this.
Okay.
I bought a couple decks of tarot cards. I bought a crystal ball. I bought some crystals. I really, I listened to some psychic that came up with some number 33.
Yep.
That said that, something amazing was going to happen. My husband passed away last year from COVID.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And, you know, we were married, we were together 50 years. So
Wow.
figure from 15, I've been with somebody, and now I've got to learn how to be on my own, and I'm doing it.
Good for you.
I started the gratitude journal. I started a memory journal. I'm doing the vision board, but I'm kind of like just dipping my toes in and not sure where am I going or what am I supposed to be doing. I've been told I'm supposed to be healing. You know, it's all confusing for me, and I'm not a spring chicken. so
Sure you are.
you know, so it's
Better
sort
late
of
than
like,
never, right?
yeah, it is sort of like there's so much to learn, and it's like I don't know if I'm mixing it all up, and maybe I should just take one road at a time, or what, I don't know, whatever any of you think. Like I said, I found you today on my computer. You said come, I came. I had a hell of a time getting in because I can't figure all this stuff out, and it's getting late, and I'm like, I can't get in there, but here I am.
So you're meant to be here. Janice, do you mind if I ask what your date of birth is?
It's 11/21/1955. Now, what I came up with was 7, is what I thought.
Oh, you're better than that. I know why you found me, because we have the same life path number. But I'm the poster chick for the 16-7. I'm just putting that out there. You can't have that title. So your life path number is what I call a 16-7. So it implies that you're the older soul. You're somebody who has been around the planet a few times, you know, kicked the can around a few times, got a few t-shirts. And please don't think I'm trying to sell you a reading, but I would love to do your chart for you, because I have so much I can share with you on the 16-7. Okay. That alone, just a second. So we've got 3 and 5 is 8, and 2 is 10. So it's not surprising that you're here and that you're interested in all these kinds of things, because you're in a one personal year. Okay, so that's a year of new beginnings, new opportunities, new things. So you're planting seeds, right? And you're stepping into groups like this, and you're being nurtured in different ways. I fully expect your growth curve is going to like be straight up, straight up. So I'm delighted that you found this group, because you're going to find it very, very inspiring every single month. New guests coming in and new speakers, and all kinds of stuff that you may not have even discovered yet within the membership, where there's all kinds of videos and PDFs and MP3s and all kinds of good stuff. So, but that's what's going on. You are in, your husband passed last year. You were in a year of 9, which was all about endings. And
yeah, it's been a rough year.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. No question. But intuitively, I feel like you're on the upswing. You know, you're obviously a survivor. You are drawn to the intuitive arts. You're drawn to the healing arts. You're drawn to anything metaphysical. So it's not unusual that you're taking this route. So I'm really, really glad that you found us.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else have anything they'd like to share? Ree does.
I only want to say this because you mentioned tarot. And I've been a tarot reader for 24 years, something like that. Bye, Fiona. Use the tarot as a weather report to let you know where you are energetically. And don't get caught up in believing that tarot can tell the future, because you give your power away. It's, to me, when I give readings, I am only letting people know, you know, you're really good energetically, you're in a good place, and keep doing what you're doing. And, you know, a great relationship is a potential because you're so open-hearted or whatever. Basically, that's what I tell them. But I think it's super, super, super important to know that the power is in you, and your readings will be a reflection only of what's going on within you. I see so many people kind of lose their power to tarot cards when they first start reading. And that's all I just wanted to let you know, that there's no power in the cards themselves. They're just a reflection, and they're letting you know kind of where to make adjustments.
I've only done them like a 3, and past, present, future, whatever, but everything I come across seems to all be good. You know, I have the angel cards, I have the energy cards, and then I have the real thing or whatever that is. But it's like every time I do it, everything comes up pretty positive, and it's all pretty good. So, and I don't want to be using them on other people. I bought them for me.
Good for you. Good for you. Because wouldn't you agree, they're subject to interpretation. I mean, you could do a reading for her, and you'd interpret it one way. I could do a reading, I'd interpret it another way. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's really, you know, what she feels.
Totally. Yeah. 100%. It's, the reading will be different with every reader. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I'm very sorry to hear about your husband. That's awful.
You know what? I guess I only can say that it was better him than me, because he wouldn't be able to handle it. He wouldn't be able to handle everything I've had to go through.
Right.
When it comes to, you know, insurance, Social Security, everything is difficult, but I'm doing it. I hired my own electrician. I got my tires, the air in my tires checked. I'm actually doing it. I'm figuring out how to do it.
Oh my God. I love you already.
Thank you. Yes.
Can I ask what your husband's first name was?
Daniel.
Because immediately when you got on the call, I could hear this male voice saying, just tell her that she's doing great, but she doesn't have to move so fast. And he said, take your time and enjoy it. And he said, he also said that you have a tendency to get really excited about things, but sometimes you lose interest if you've run into some like hurdles. Like, I don't know if you've had other hobbies or whatever.
Yeah.
But he said this one is he wants you to stick with it. He wants you to stick with it because you're finally learning about yourself, and you're finally focusing on yourself, which is something he wanted you to do for years.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
You don't know what that means to me. It means a lot. And yes, I've totally redecorated the whole house.
Go, girl.
Well, I can feel how happy he is with you. So
good.
He's just really, really like almost surprised that you have moved forward in the way you have, but very proud of the way you're moving forward.
That means the world to me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was beautiful, Laura. Thank you. Tiffany, you're up.
Awesome, thank you. And I just want to say I'm also a 16-7, and Anne did with me recently, and the good old crash, burn, and learn, and it's hugely helpful. So yeah, Janice, I would say the same, because I actually didn't wake up spiritually until a handful of years ago. And now my whole life has changed, and so much for the better. So I also believe this is kind of you're coming into your own. So big time, big time. My question is more around, as part of the spiritual awakening, I find that a lot of my friends and people in my life really don't resonate entirely with me any longer, but they're still in my life, and I haven't really fully brought in a new tribe, so to speak. And I always joke now that my real friends are on the internet, because they're not in real life, sadly, yet. And, I almost started wondering lately if, maybe part of this journey for me is being more alone, and I'm meant to be the leader or the light for them. And I'm meant to work with the people in my current life instead of worrying about trying to get this perfect little tribe where we can sit around and talk about all this fun stuff. But it is lonely and isolating. So I guess just any thoughts on what people do there who kind of start to come into the spiritual world, and, the rest of your folks, like, one of my girlfriends tonight's asked what I'm doing, and I told her, she's like, oh, of course you are. Right. So it's, some days it's okay and some days it sucks, I guess. Right. So.
Susan, do you have any thoughts on that? I kind of get the sense you have a good answer for this one.
Well, it's interesting because I've definitely been there before years ago. And, like we've talked about, the people in your life are there for a reason, and then they come and go, but they've played a part. And sometimes it's sad to see them go and you're moving on, and that might be a little bit of what you're feeling because you've kind of finished that assignment, or they've finished the assignment. So you're moving on to a different one that's taken you into a different place. Some of them might end up following you eventually, but you do have that opportunity to, I do agree that you are sensing correctly about this alone time, because you're shifting and you're transforming into a different part of you that's coming into your awareness, and you're recognizing that you're not really in alignment with some of the things that your friends want to do anymore. And I know it's hard waiting for the new tribe. I feel like they're definitely on the way. So I think that, thank God we have this, right? Because we have a place to go where we can all get together. But yeah, the alone time is you really getting to trust yourself and know that you are enough with you. And, when you want to get out and do things and start expanding more, just put that into your thought process of, okay, I'm ready. Because you know what, I can tell you this right now. I just heard this from your spirit team. They said she doesn't realize, but the tribe is already waiting on her. So your next group is waiting for you, and 2022 just might bring you to that place.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. I love that.
You're welcome. Great perception. Love that too. Anybody else have anything to share on that? Tira's got something to say.
This isn't very much, but when you were talking, I saw horses. Do you do stuff with horses? Do you love horses, or do you?
No, but somebody talked to me about horse riding today, and I rode a horse this summer. And so that's actually been here today for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know. They're all around you. So maybe there's something to it.
Okay. All right. I will explore more. Thank you.
Go find yourself a horse, girlfriend.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that's really funny. I just have to say, I picked up my deck randomly. I don't know why. And I mean, ignore the fact that it's the death card, but it's a horse. That's really weird. It's just weird. That was weird.
All right. Wow.
That's so cool. Yeah, you hang out in my circle, you're going to find the horse. It's just gonna
love it. Thank you guys. Awesome. And I'm so glad I've met all you through this, because this is all new for me, meeting everyone. So definitely check websites.
We try to do this once a year. Maybe we'll do it more than once a year.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah,
it's a good venue. But I'm glad you're here. Glad you made it.
Thank you.
Let's see. We got Jaya and Rachel. Jaya's been waiting for a while. So here, Jaya, you're up. There she is. Hey.
Thank you. Yeah, nice to see all of you, and amazing conversation. So I think I had one question which was specific to Akashic records, and I'm bummed that Fiona left, but then I have another question, so I'll ask that. So I think as part of the spiritual journey that I've been having, so, been into a lot of stuff. And this question specifically on spirit guides and our master guides. So I know that sometimes we say that we get messages and, sometimes we hear things. For me, it's more about just knowing. Otherwise, I don't have any other way it comes to me. I don't know why. I've been trying to work on that, but it just doesn't happen. And one thing that I want some help or guidance on is sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and I just know that there's some presence, there's some message and something that I have to open up to, but I'm just scared that I'm just inside my blanket and I just don't open my eyes, and I keep saying, no, I don't want to talk to anyone, just leave. And I say that, why don't you come to me during the daytime? And nothing happens during the daytime. And I'm like, so now when I go to sleep, I just set the intention that I just don't want to be waken up, during my sleep in the middle of the night, because that scares me. And when I set the intention that I do want to communicate during the daytime, nothing happens. So I just want to know if there's anything else that I could do about this.
Wow. Tira's like, I gotta say something.
Sorry, I don't mean to kind of hog the whole space here, but I get that one. What I want to say to you, Jaya, is when you're saying, don't come to me in the night, come to me in the day, are you setting a time in the day for them to come? That's what you want to do, darling. You want to set a specific time and sit down, and they may not come right away, or they may be there and you may not be able to hear them right away, but set a specific time, like every day, 4 days out of the week, and see if they can come to you in the daytime. That's what I got.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
See, she just gets shit done. Like, Tara just knows how to just lay it out there and go, no, I'm sorry, I'm busy for you right now. Would you mind making an appointment and show up at this time? That's what I would prefer, right? I love you, girlfriend. And Sue has something to say.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to mention too that when I had that actually happen years ago when I started getting into all of this, and I didn't like the nighttime visit either, and it would scare me, and I would say, you can't do this. So you were correct in letting them know that's not going to work for you. But the reason I found when they weren't coming back during the day, besides what Thera said, which is a great idea to set that time frame, is when you're in bed at night and you're lying there and you're probably asleep and it's waking you up or whatever's going on, your mind is not taking over. That conscious mind is out of the way. So you're and that's when spirit has a lot of more ease coming in to visit. So now during the day, your expectations go up higher, and that conscious mind starts going and the thinking starts going, well, where are you? What's going on? And so you've pushed out of the zone. So you want to get back into that zone of feeling more into in allowing the spirit to come and notice the difference of how you feel when you're lying in bed at night and during the day when you're expecting the visit to come.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Susan, have you heard, or anybody, have you heard, somebody asked me the other day about 3 o'clock in the morning. He said between 3 and 3:30 in the morning. That's a special time, isn't it, where spirit has a tendency to visit? Isn't that kind of a not a specified time, but is there some commonality to that?
It is. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Laura has something to say on this too, but to me, it's always just seems like there's this open space where the majority of people, I know there are different time zones, but the majority of people are resting and sleeping, and it's just easier access because there's not all this energy of thought all over the place, and they have an easier time to just come in and visit. And we're not with our guard up. I always think of the conscious mind can also be the guard at the gate, that's like, no one's coming in right now. And then when you're sleeping, the conscious mind's sleeping. So you have more openness to receive.
Yeah, I have a little bit of a funny story. I always know when I'm not allowing spirit to come in during the day, when they decide to talk to me when I'm in the shower, when I'm sitting on the toilet, when I'm driving. So when they're trying to communicate with me at those times, I know that I haven't made space for them. And I do have boundaries with spirit, like Susan was talking about, you tell them, like, I don't want to talk to you right now. This is my rest time. So I do have those kinds of boundaries where my bedroom is kind of a very sacred place just for me, that spirit's not allowed to communicate with me and those kinds of things. And the timing is important. So sometimes if spirit, there's almost like a backlog of messages that have to come through. So it's almost like you have to say to them, like, I'm going to meditate at 7 p.m. on Wednesday night. I'm going to give you an hour. You can each line up. And I used to be a teacher too. So I'm all about lining up in single file and only asking one question at a time, because otherwise I get confused. I don't know who's talking. I don't know what's going on. And they all want to talk at once. So you do have to set these rules with spirit. And the nice thing is, it's not like teaching little kids where you have to set the rules over and over again. When you tell spirit what the rule is, that's it. They know. They know what your rules are. And they follow them. They follow them. It's so amazing.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I made this career change. I'm telling you, yes, they actually listen to me.
That's awesome.
I put it in my planner. I have a planner, and I'll write like Spanky, my dog, Spanky's vet appointment. And then after that, I have God. And I just actually put it in my planner when I want guidance or inspiration or divine intervention or whatever. So I block out actual space. And if you don't have a regular meditation practice, it is hard for them to get in there while your mind is busy. So
Such a great point. These are great. Nothing I would have thought of. This is all good.
Yeah, this is amazing. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, you're welcome. Good to see you, Jaya. Rachel. Girl with the goofy hat.
They're antlers.
They're extensions.
Yeah, I feel better with them.
They look great.
Okay, I have a few questions.
Okay.
All right. One, I have a final that I have to take. An actual final, like I'm in classes. And I'm having a hard time with articulation. And it's who do I ask for help for that? That's my first question.
I don't know what you guys feel. For me, it would be Archangel Gabriel would be the one that I'd go to.
Ask yourself. Ask yourself.
Or ask yourself.
So we do this thing when you learn Reiki, which I love. Send that energy of your best self, articulating exactly what you want to say. Send that energy to the time and date of the exam.
Mm-hmm.
I can take it whenever I want.
Okay, good. So just whenever you want to take the exam, though, when you know when it is, I want you to sit down and send your best self, the energy of your best self and the progress, the best result, send it all to that time when you're sitting down to write it. Because yes, like you can call on, I ask angels for all kinds of things because there's an angel for everything. So when I'm frustrated with my computer, I'm like, oh, angel of technology, you better help me out with this because I'm going to lose my mind and I really don't want to break my laptop. So you can ask for any angel. So if you want help with something, you just say, I don't know who to ask, but I need help with articulation. So angels of articulation, come down and help me, and they'll find the right one for you. But really, your energy is the most powerful here. You know the most about this. And I do this sometimes if I have like a big presentation or something. I'll send my energy to that day and time. I'll send my calm. I'll send all the information that I'm studying. I send it all. Okay. And it really does help because as I love what Rhiannon said, that we're God, you are God, and you can do this.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I used to send a lot of messages up to Archangel Michael because I always figure, well, he's the head dude up there, head honcho, so I'll just send up the sticky memo and he'll just assign it, So when I don't know who to call on, to ask for the help, because I did learn that there are certain angels that have certain specialities, and I didn't really believe it until I started working with it. There is a book that you might enjoy. It's called Archangels and Ascended Masters by Doreen Virtue. And it's a wonderful book because any question you might have, any issue that you've got, like focus or determination or whatever, is right there in the back of the book. And it'll say, okay, call on so-and-so, angels you've never even heard of, right? And I started practicing with that, and I couldn't believe the results I was getting. So it's a really easy book to resource, if you really don't know. But Laura's absolutely right. I mean, if you don't know, just throw it up there. Somebody's going to answer, right? The very fact that you asked for help, you'll get the answer. But if you're kind of like me and you got to be a little more specific, because that's who I am. That's what I do if I want to be very, very focused. Susan's like,
I was just well, it's interesting because when Laura said exactly what I was going to say too, but I'm just going to be a little more specific with it as well, is there are, we have our spirit team, right? So we have helper guides that come in and out of our lives all the time. So what I do with situations like that is I call a helper guide, angel, whatever. But when I say specific, whatever it is you're studying, that's another aspect you want to call in. So say you were studying real estate, you'd be like, okay, I need a helper guide that is awesome in real estate, bring it in, channel it through me. I need that confidence, I need that knowledge and wisdom. And it's almost like, there's this that just comes through you and helps you, with that. I mean, I've done it with people having major surgeries. I'd be like, can you bring in the best surgeons, anesthesiologists right now? I need those helper guides in there doing this. So same thing applies with whatever subject or topic you're doing, make it even more specific. Yeah.
There's also, if you want to explore, that was great insight, Susan. Fiona does spirit guide. I forget what she calls it. Know your spirit guides or something like that. And she goes in and she will tap into who your spirit, like you set up the appointment and whatnot. She taps in to find out who the spirit guides are. And it's really, really interesting stuff. I mean, there's guides there that I didn't even know I had. And once she introduced me to them and I was able to call on them, I was really getting far more specific results. I have one that I call Blue, and Blue helps me to communicate. Blue helps me to channel when I write or when I speak. So I can call on him if I need help with communication. I've got another one for creativity. I've got another one for courage. I've got, whatever. So she identified 6 different guides and gave me very specific ways to know when they're around, what they might look like, all of that. So you might want to explore that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Question 2.
Yeah.
At what point where you've surrendered and you've released it and you're waiting, not in hermit mode, but not in hermit mode, that you're just waiting on divine timing, but I also know that there's a point in which you're supposed to take action. How do you know what that point is, that you're supposed to come out of that hermit mode and then take the action?
I'm gonna leave that up to you guys.
Don't wait. Don't wait. Surrender is kind of like a lifestyle, and it's you'll still need to take action in the world, but you'll just know. And that's part of the surrender, is not having to figure it out and maybe not taking any action. So I struggled with this for so long as well. But I think the key is realizing that they're not 2 different things. You can surrender while you're taking an action. All that surrender means is, I'm okay if it happens. I'm okay if it doesn't. I leave it up to something that knows all and is infinitely powerful. I can still do whatever I need to do and trust that it's all perfect. Once you've surrendered it, the part that gets tricky and that is the most important is trusting that everything will unfold perfectly, including your actions. And then just kind of let it, if you feel inspired to go, I don't know, answer a want ad, then that's what you do. But I don't think they're separate at all. I think surrender for me anyway is pretty continuous. I'm just always, whatever happens, it's your will that I want to be done. I hope that makes sense.
You know,
Yes.
you and I went through that over the last year that we were doing some work together, and we were kind of coaching each other. You know, each time we got together about this whole concept of learning how to just surrender. That's the first step. The first step is to surrender, and then the next step is to release and trust, right? Because if you're gonna, you know, it's like you hang on to this rope and you hang on and you try and control it, and your sweat's rolling off you, and you're just trying to hold it, and you know, sometimes it's easier just to let go and just trust that it's going to be okay and everything will be in perfect alignment. The very fact that you thought enough to surrender is the very first step.
It's scary.
Yeah, it is. And I'm going to share with you guys that when I did the 4-day program that many of you were in there a few weeks ago, there was a new thing for me. I'd never done anything like that before, and I did it over 2 different times, right? And so in order to get the word out there, I got caught up in this old trap, this old paradigm that I used to be in years ago, where I felt I had to push and push and push, right? And so what did I do? I hired a guy to help me with some Facebook ads, and we spent a long time, and I spent a lot of money on him as a coach to help me through the whole creation process of creating these ads and stuff and putting them out there and putting them on Facebook. And every morning I get up and go, oh, I wonder how many people bought my $38 program. And with all due respect, it was $38. Okay, we're not talking $3,800. We're talking $38. And all I was doing was, I got exhausted. I was completely, Tira knows, she coached me through it. I was pushing this boulder up the hill, right? And I wasn't doing what I knew I should be doing, which was just surrender it and trust that the perfect people will show up in the perfect timing. And they did. But I was exhausted, right? And I failed myself on that, because I know several years ago that I was doing exactly that. That's the only way I knew how to run a business. I'm an entrepreneur, right? I'm self-employed. It's the only thing I knew how to do is, oh, I guess I have to advertise. I guess I have to put out ads. I guess I have to, you know, get it on the radio and put out the posters and do the free talks, whatever. And you don't. You surrender and you just say, I'm so grateful you're bringing the perfect people to me and the perfect timing for me. Let go, right? And that's taking action. You're asking, like, when do I step in and take action kind of thing? That is taking action. By surrendering and releasing and trusting, you are taking action right there.
I think the key word that I heard, Rachel, and it was Rhiannon said inspiration. So we have to be able to trust that when the time is ready for us to act, that we receive that inspiration. We receive that feeling within us that we want to move, that there is an idea of where we want to go. And so when you clear the clutter through surrender and you get to that place where you're letting go of the weight of making things happen, this amazing thing happens, and your inner voice, your inner soul starts to speak to you. And
because
there's
you
these
just
little
told your
sparks.
ego to shut up, right?
Yeah. So
Well,
I think that,
sorry.
go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You finish.
I was just going to say, it's just inspiration. I love Rhiannon said, she said it. That's the key word I took from everything she said, because that's when you know that action is, it's good for you. It's a positive movement. And rather than let yourself get to the place where you ignore the inspiration and then you get agitated. So if you've gone to the point of feeling a little agitated or a little stuck, then you know that there's been messages along the way, and you probably know what they are, but you've been ignoring it because you didn't know how it was going to work. You didn't know what was going to happen. You had that fear creep in. So the whole key is we surrender, we let go of the weight of fear, and we say to consciousness, source, God, and we just say, I know you got me. And I know you're going to lead me.
Rachel, it might help if in January you establish a couple of words to guide you through the year. I know that I used surrender and trust for 2020, and that served me well through COVID. And then in 2021, I said my statement would be, how does this make me feel?
Yeah.
It helped me stay heart-centered. How do I feel about this?
I think I already wrote that down on the chart that you did for me
Good. Good, good,
for,
good.
for next year. I mean, things have gone from bad to worse this year, and I'm still in good spirits. So,
Because you're strong.
all right. So last question is kind of along the same lines as the lessons that you're supposed to learn. How do you know when you've learned it? And that you should like stop trying to do the shadow work and move on to the next one.
Susan's gonna answer
Okay.
this one.
I know what these lessons. Okay. The lessons that keep coming back in different forms and shapes are the ones you are still continuing to learn. When they fall away and you're noticing that stuff isn't coming around again, you can kind of check it off your list and know you've got it. But the majority of us will see those lessons very frequently because we came here to learn really specific stuff. And they come in different, like I said, shapes and forms and ways. And it's almost like you might feel like you got it, right? And you'll be like, I know I have done it right this time. I figured it out. And you might get that one little pop-up test, unexpected, just to make sure you really got it. And, then you're ready to move on once you pass through that, because it won't keep showing up. That's the one way you will know for sure.
Is it easier if you can I feel like if I can identify what the lesson was supposed to be, then I can figure it out and move on. But there's no
I wish it
playbook.
was that simple. It's not, and believe me, I've done that even with close friends where we're calling each other going, oh my gosh, I cannot believe this is coming around again. What are we supposed to learn from it? Ask Spirit, ask your team, help me learn show me. That's what I used to say. Show me what I'm supposed to learn from this, please. And sometimes I have to say, show me gently what I'm supposed to learn, because sometimes it comes down so hard that I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't think I can handle this. So I'll be like, gently, please, let me know how I need to see this and feel this and know this. And that's one way, a little detective work that you can do with your spirit team.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thanks, Rachel.
No, thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh, Tara has something to say.
Could I? One more thing.
Sorry.
Sorry. I have one more thing to that, and I loved all of that, Susan. That was exactly how I see it too. Rachel, if you're looking to see what those life lessons are, look at your patterns of chaos. When you can kind of identify your patterns of chaos, then you can see what your lessons or what they are supposed to be. Because your patterns of chaos will always tell you what you're supposed to learn here.
Exactly. Yeah. I call it the timeline. I have clients, in fact, in the course I'm going to be doing, we create a timeline, and you can literally take the pieces from the puzzle and realize, for example, I had one lady that we could clearly see fear and trust issues were so huge in her timeline. Yeah, exactly.
Well, those are great examples. Thank you.
No worries. Rose. This will be our last one because we've already gone over time, but I'm happy to have your question, Rose. You've been waiting a long time.
Can you hear me?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have a question about my talking to my higher self. And it was suggested that one of the reasons I have an issue, a physical issue, is because I need to be more in tune with my higher self. And I've been working really hard on trying to do it. Well, I shouldn't say that. I'm not going to say work really hard because that means there's a problem there. But I just wonder, so far I haven't felt her. And in the beginning, when I first started awakening, I actually felt like I could see her. But, of late, and I'm not sure why, and if there's any advice on, the best ways to do that.
I wanted to say something actually that feels super, super important about surrender before I get to this question. And that is, I think it's really, really important to surrender for the sake of peace and for the love of God, not to get anything. Like, surrender to me is not like I surrender this so that it'll come to me. That's super, super like key. That's what I wanted to say about that. But about the higher self, I do on the meditation retreats with the attendees walking meditations. And there's something about the wisdom of our body, because you are already your highest self. Like it's nothing that you have to communicate with that's out there. You're already that. And walking with it, walking as it, it's very different for me and for the people who come to the retreats. It's very different than like sitting and meditating, assuming the body posture and moving and breathing as if you are that highest self. Downloads will start to come. You'll start to feel differently. You'll have more confidence. I find that walking meditation, or the walking meditations that we do, help so much to form that bridge of like, I'm going to now be that highest self in my life. So walk as it, breathe as it. Even like just when you think of it, when you become aware that I want to be my highest self and you're driving, just how would I sit right now? And assume that posture. How would I be breathing? How would my highest self be speaking right now? That's what I found works really well.
Thank you.
Susan, do you have a meditation on reaching your higher self?
You know, I have so many. I'm going to have to look. Not one is coming to my mind immediately, but it is actually similar to one that I'm working on right now that I'll be putting out there pretty soon that helps us connect with your higher self. But there might be something on there. Like I said, I have I have a plethora of them, and I really have to organize them and look back on when I started all of this a while back and put them all in there. But yeah, I think the walking meditation is excellent too, Rhiannon. I've done those, and you know, you are assuming, you're acting as if, you know, and the higher self, like she said, we already are there. We just, you know, diminish ourselves with, you know, the life and the circumstances we happen to be in, and then we forget how, you know, powerful we really are, and acknowledging that higher self and saying, this is who I am. Yeah. Walking and acting as if. Yeah.
Yeah. I learned recently, apparently I'm human. I didn't get the memo.
Surprise!
Nobody sent me the memo to say you're human, right? So I had to kind of remind myself of that and treat myself a little nicer. And yeah, that really speaks a lot to my higher self. And I just, I don't know why I even shared that, but I know I know recently I beat myself up pretty hard about something, and I was able to it took me about 3 hours, but I finally got through it. And you know, it's interesting when you're busy beating yourself up, you can't connect to your higher self. It's because you're too busy having your own little battle, right? So, you know, the kinder you can be to yourself, the easier it will be to be able to connect. So, release the drama. You good, Rose?
Yep, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Oh my gosh, guys. This has been probably one of my most favorite sessions ever. Seriously. I love the energy here. Everybody hung around for a long time. That was amazing. I'm just so incredibly grateful. Thank you, Rhiannon, for showing up and in the middle of your retreat. Like what a trooper you are. I really, really appreciate it. Make sure that you check Rhiannon out, upgradetouplift.com. And Susan, you'll see her with me in the next few months and doing some other work. And you can find Susan at spiritsandbeyond.com. Thank you so much for being here, Susan. I really appreciate it. Tira, God bless you, honey. I got lots of stuff to share with you. You've just been amazing to me and so supportive. I just love you to pieces. You can find Tira at tirawhitford.com. Make sure you check her out. Get on these people's mailing lists, guys. You need to do that. And Laura, my good friend down there in the bottom corner, little elf person. Love you, girlfriend. I know we're going to connect in January sometime. I can feel it. So, check Laura out. You can go and see her on ami.ca on the Sightseers program. But she's got some great courses coming up, all kinds of good things coming up. You can still book readings with her. And she is LauraWarrenMedium.com. And Fiona, of course, she had to leave a little bit early because she's got kids she had to feed. Imagine that. Funny how they are. But Fiona is freedomwithfiona.com if you're interested in Akashic record readings or finding out what the heck you're here for, what your soul's purpose is. That's it. Selfless plug. I have 3 spots left, only 3 spots left in my big program coming up in January 17th it starts. It's called How to Speak Numbers in Your Business. So if you're looking to blend numerology into your current business to support your current business, this might be a really great fit for you. So you can check it out. It's all on my website as well. But thank you for all showing up and for contributing these great questions and just being here. You know what? Just showing up, being part of the community. It means so much. It means so much to everybody, to the whole collective of this group, right? I really hope that you'll make a good point of showing up for the next few months. I mean, for the next years, whatever it takes. Laura's going to be my guest in January. So we got all kinds of really good stuff in line for you for then. So yay. But I'll send this recording out to you so you'll have it. You got any questions or whatever, let us know. I'll make sure that everybody's contact information are there so you can hook up with them. So maybe my guests can stay on for just a couple of minutes after we all say goodnight. And that would be great. So we'll see you all in the new year. I'm hoping that you're going to create your absolute best year ever because we know that we're all capable of doing just that, right? All right. Love y'all. Group hug.
Thanks very much, Anne, and everybody. It was fabulous.
So good to see you, Mary Louise. Always. Hey, Tiffany.
Bye.
Terry.
Thank you.
Take care, guys. Bye for now.